Okay, so I just wanted to add a sort of a part three after I made the first two videos. I was going about the house, knocking through my cards today, and had a couple of things come up on the cards that I thought may be interesting notes to add for you as you start your journey of doing this system. So if you remember, one of the things that I pointed out was that monthly I had a tidy one kitchen cabinet, and like I said, I believed that I had, about 12 cabinets, so that once a year in rotation that those would all get done. And one of the things that I want to point out is that the first month of this is a little on the weird side, because what will happen is that you will see things like, wow, this kitchen cabinet is a mess, maybe. And your first instinct would be maybe to veer off and to take care of that cabinet. I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm saying that you try to trust the system. You've got a card in here that at some point over the next month, it's going to ask you to tidy one of the cabinets. And once you get going on it, they kind of go into a constant rotation of being pretty good, pretty good. If you were a little bit more interested in keeping your kitchen very tidy, you might have this as a weekly card, so that in rotation, once a week, every one of the cabinets was getting itself tidied up a little bit. I don't really think that I have that much stuff that I feel the need to do that all the time. But I did have this pop up, and so you'll see that I've got added on here. Last month, I did the cabinet in my kitchen that has all of my dry food in it. So I just stuck a little note in pencil over on the side. This time I did the drawers that were all the right side drawers, like my silverware drawer, and some drawers along that side of the kitchen. They were really easy just to knock through, pull out things that didn't belong there, scoot things around, move some stuff. I ended up bagging up a whole bunch of plastic silverware that had found its way in there. I got rid of some stuff. I noticed that my measuring cups seemed to be in more than one place, so I gathered them up and have moved them to a new home. It took a couple minutes. It really just took a couple minutes to go through that one cabinet or that one set of drawers, and just knock through them. But now they're in the rotation. And so you just have to kind of trust the system that first month until you've had the chance to kind of rotate fully through one whole set of monthly cards. And like I said, the temptation will be you will see something that you're like, wow, that's a mess. Trust that, and it may be tomorrow, it may be next week, it may be 3 weeks from now, you are going to at some point have a card pop up. If you made one, you're going to have a card pop up that says to deal with that thing. And so concentrate on the cards that are there that day, and just understand that eventually you are going to get to every single thing because you made a card for every single thing. So I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to point out here, I have the same sort of idea, a monthly, where I spend a half an hour. This is sort of more of a long-term storage thing, right? Personally, I have some boxes of keepsakes from when the kids were little, and things that are keepsakes from shows that I've done. And they're all kind of just in boxes. And it's sort of these boxes that you just drag around from one house to the next, and you never really sort them. You never really, they're just kind of always there. And so I have a card for that. Just a half an hour. That's very reasonable for me to sit down and try to knock through some of that. It doesn't seem like much, but it's a monthly card over the next 6 months, over the next year. This will start to get itself figured out better. I will start to get a better grasp of how to handle this, and it may be that this makes itself into something else. Maybe I do some more scrapbooks. Maybe I shift the focus of this card, but it is something that's sort of just been sitting there with, and it's an overwhelming task. It's a lot of stuff. And so I have a half an hour a month, and that's it. But eventually it'll work itself out. Um, I have things like this that, I wanted to point out because I said in the last video the thing about how I never wipe down the vent in my bathroom, which is kind of true. But also that vent is pretty new, like this, I have specifically in the kitchen every other week to wipe down the outside of the fridge, the front of the stove, and the vent hood above the stove. Every other week seems to be clean enough for me. Maybe it's not clean enough for you. Um, Everybody is going to be different. Don't judge my sketchy habits. I mean, maybe you have not washed down the front, wiped down the outside of your fridge the entire time you've lived in your apartment. I don't know. But, a nice can of Lysol wipes, and you can do this pretty quickly. And you'll see that slowly it starts making a difference in the overall appearance of the house. But how long does this take to do? This is a 2-minute job. This is 2 or 3 minutes. You just kind of go do it, and not anything else, just those things. I have a separate card for wiping out the microwave. I have a separate card for, dealing with the dishwasher. It's just these things that I concentrate on specifically. I also have cards that are seasonal for me doing gardening kind of stuff outside. But I have these 10-minute tidy cards, and I wanted to explain them a little bit better. I have what I call a 10-minute tidy card for all of the rooms of the house, and one for outside for my front porch. A 10-minute tidy card, and they are distributed, so I have pretty much one for every day. My rooms work out pretty close to that. There's a, I have, one day I have more than one, but the 10-minute tidy is there just for you to take 10 minutes on a timer. If the timer helps you, I can pace myself fairly well, but maybe you set the timer on your phone for 10 minutes for you to go out, for you to deal with that room. And that is doing a quick once over. That is hitting the surface of stuff. That is wiping down things that are very visible. It's not for the deep cleaning. It is for that thing that you would normally be doing if you had company on the way over and you were trying very quickly to make it look a little bit more presentable. I do have a TMT card for every room, and those cards are distributed through the week. Like I said, I have 1 or 2 for each day. That kind of always keeps the house looking fairly decent. You know that every week there's going to be 10 minutes that you can just pick up every room a little bit. And that keeps you on top of things fairly well. Now, if you have a bunch of young kids or other circumstances, this might not work as well. I don't have that. I'm dealing mostly with myself. Justin doesn't really make a mess anywhere in the house. So this is enough for me to keep up with things. You do this initial box, and then sometimes you have to adjust it after you see, it's like if you make a budget and you get 2 months into it and you realize that you've allocated the money wrong. Same thing with this, you kind of, but give it a month, try to figure it out as best you can. Give it a month and see when you start to notice the difference, because the way that it rotates is that your house should always be about 80% okay. And for most people, that's an improvement. So we're solid with that, and nothing is getting ignored. And that at any given point in time, if somebody shows up at your door, you're okay, or that you can sit down and watch a movie without looking around and feeling bad because your house is a mess. You know that you've got a plan for how to maintain everything. So I find that that's really helpful. But I noticed those things after the first 2 videos, and I wanted to explain them a little bit more to you. So there's that, part 3.